Let's talk about something every leader has been through. You hire an absolute rock star. They're sharp, they're motivated, they totally get the culture. And you think, great, we're set. But then, out of the blue, they're gone. And you're left scratching your head, wondering what you missed. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the real reason your best people walk out the door, and more importantly, how you can build a company they'll never want to leave.
It really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It keeps you up at night. I mean, you're paying them well, the projects are interesting, the team seems to get along. So what gives? What's the missing piece of the puzzle that makes them quietly start updating their resume?
And there it is. 9 times out of 10, it's not about the money and it's not about the day-to-day work. It's about tomorrow. It's about the future. This one simple sentence is whispered in so many exit interviews, but it's so often ignored. The bottom line is, if your best people can't see a clear path forward with you, you better believe they're going to go find one without you.
So let's put a name to this thing. We're calling it the pathless problem. And you need to know, this isn't just a few isolated incidents. This is a huge, systemic issue that's happening across pretty much every industry. It's like a silent killer of employee retention.
And if you need proof, just look at this data. It's pretty staggering. A full 2/3, that's 67%, of skilled workers under 40 feel completely unsure about their career path inside their own company. Think about that. That's a massive blind spot, and it leaves your top talent wide open to getting poached by competitors who are selling them a clear vision of the future.
And look, this isn't just some new age management fad. We're talking about the heavy hitters here. Folks like Jeff Smart, who literally wrote the book on hiring A players, and Laszlo Bock, the guy who built Google's legendary HR machine. They all say the exact same thing. Visible career paths are absolutely non-negotiable. They have to be built on purpose.
Okay, so if the old way is broken, what does the new way look like? For decades, we've all been obsessed with the idea of a career ladder. You know, that straight, one-way climb to the top. But that model is outdated. It's time to start thinking about career growth as a lattice.
This slide breaks it down perfectly. The old ladder model, it was all about getting that next promotion. That was it. But the new lattice model is so much richer. It understands that growth can also mean going sideways to learn a new part of the business, or digging deep to become the go-to expert in your field, or even developing into a mentor for others. It gives people options, not just a one-way street up.
All right, so this all sounds good in theory, but what does it actually look like when a real company puts it into practice? Let's take a look at Nova Energy. They're a utilities contractor that got tired of losing good people and decided to do something radical about it.
So they built this incredibly clear 5-tier system. And I want you to pay close attention to step 4. That's the magic right there. You hit a fork in the road and you get a choice. You can go down the leadership path if you want to manage people, or you can go down the specialist path and become a master of your craft. It told their team you don't have to be a boss to be valuable and to grow here. It was a total game changer.
So, did it work? Oh yeah, it worked. First, check this out. Within a single year, their employee retention shot up by 31%. That is a massive needle to move. People simply stopped leaving because for the first time, they could see exactly why they should stay.
But it didn't stop there. They also saw a nearly 50% jump in internal promotions. So this pathway wasn't just plugging a leak, it was creating a pipeline. It was actively building their next generation of leaders from the people they already had.
And here it is. This is the knockout punch. The number of people who left the company because of an unclear future dropped to 0. Gone. They completely solved the exact problem we started this whole conversation with.
Okay, so you've seen the proof that this works. Now for the big question. How can you actually do this in your own organization, especially if you don't have a giant HR budget? Well, here's a super practical, low-cost playbook you can literally start using tomorrow.
The single most important word here is visibility. It's not enough to just have career paths locked away in some HR file. Your team needs to see them and feel them every single day. So, post career maps right there on the shop wall. Turn your annual reviews into quarterly path reviews. Create little digital badges to celebrate new skills. Let people do job rotations. You have to make growth a living, breathing part of your culture.
Now, a huge piece of this puzzle is something called internal upskilling. And this isn't just about training someone for their next promotion. It's about helping them understand how their job, right now, fits into the whole machine. How the thing they do every day actually makes the company money and helps it win.
Let's use a really simple example.
Think about those business reports you go over in meetings. They're supposed to guide big decisions, right? But be honest, how many people in that room have eyes that are just glazing over because they have no idea what those numbers actually mean? That confusion is a breeding ground for disengagement.
The fix for this is so simple it's almost silly. For every major report you use, just create a one-page cheat sheet. Define what every single column means in plain English. And then add a little checklist. Here are the 3 things to look for. Boom, suddenly everyone's on the same page, and your meetings get way more productive.
And finally, start building your next leaders before you actually need them. You can do this in really simple ways. Offer a leadership preview workshop. Let someone with potential co-lead a team meeting with you. When a supervisor's on vacation, use an acting lead to fill in. It shows people you're investing in them, that you see a future for them, and that builds loyalty like nothing else.
Wow, we have covered a lot of ground here, right? We've gone from diagnosing the pathless problem to looking at a real-world company that solved it and even mapped out a playbook for you. So now let's bring it all home and talk about how you turn all this insight into real impact.
If you remember nothing else, remember these 4 things. 1. Having clear career paths isn't a nice-to-have anymore. It's a basic expectation. 2. Growth is a ladder, not a ladder. Think broader than just promotions. 3. If your team can't see the path, it doesn't exist. Visibility is everything. And finally, number 4, small, consistent acts of upskilling and recognition are your secret weapons for building an army of loyal employees.
So I'm going to leave you with this one last thought to chew on. Every single person on your team knows exactly when their next paycheck is coming, but do they have any clue what their next step of your company could be? If the answer is no or I'm not sure, well, you now have the playbook to change that.